Maps I find mesmerizing. Mexico and Greenland swap in the Mercator projection. Look how teeny and tiny and shriveled Greenland just got, and now Mexico's gone all big and ginormous. Wait. Oh, there we go. So that's suggesting that they are somewhat roughly the same size, I suppose. Yeah, look at that. Look at them like next to each other. Yeah, they're kind of like the same kind of landmass. I think Greenland's slightly got the edge. Oh. A section of a hand-drawn map I completed recently. Edinburgh, Scotland. Oh my god. Enhance. Whoa, that's actually insane. That's drawn by hand with a little pencil. That is actually crazy, you know. You've done such a good job. Is this Arthur's Seat, I'm assuming? It's a nice spot. The world map according to Google Street View in 2023. I'm gonna need another enhance. So fair play Google Street View. It's quite complete now. All of Europe at this point. USA is like absolutely there. South America even looking pretty good. The bits that aren't covered, there's just kind of no roads. It's just Africa still letting the side down. And then I suppose actually Asia's kind of skimping as well. Getting a 3D street view of basically the entire planet is no mean feat, so fair play. Argentine Railway Network 1990 versus 2014. So the railway network's much more scarce. I have no idea why that is. Alright, according to this Argentinian, the railway networks were nationalized, so the government were in charge of them, but the government just didn't keep up with it and everything ended up kind of in disarray. How curved is Chile? Okay, I mean, I've never actually thought about it. Do you know what? It's quite curved. I always think of the flat alongness, but never the curviness. This is what ChatGPT considers the most notable thing about each country in Europe. Ooh, enhance. Ireland have got Guinness beer. The UK have got the Beatles. Geothermal hot springs in Iceland. Fjords in Norway. IKEA in Sweden. Northern Lights in Finland. I mean, yeah, this all sounds about right so far. Ballet for Russia. Not sure. Chernobyl disaster. Dracula. Eiffel Tower. Windmills. Oktoberfest. Pizza. This is quite interesting. I suppose quite a bit of it does align with kind of the first few things you think of. US plan to create an alternative to the Suez Canal. Right, so currently it goes through Egypt up here, but they want to whack one straight through the middle of Israel. Are Israel on board with this idea? I'm not sure, guys. Whoa, the Himalayan weather wall. So it's crazily hot, 40 degrees in India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, but that heat is just blocked by the Himalayan mountains. But it's not just blocked only around the mountains, it stops the heat getting into any of this vast area of China. That's crazy. But hang on, because heat's coming from the sun, which is like way higher than the Himalaya. Oh, I don't get it. Google Maps have updated their satellite images of Mariupol, Ukraine. Oh my god, that's so sad. It's so much more war-torn and desolate. There's so much less greenery. Wow, that's awful. Jeez, how sad. Largest towns in 1050 in Europe, North Africa, and West Asia. 1050, very long time ago, points out how old some areas are, such as Cairo, Damascus, Kiev, Venice, Fez, Constantinople, which is now Istanbul, I think. Whoa, and I've just seen to qualify, you only have to have over 40,000 people. Keep in mind, there's now 8 million in central London. That's kind of crazy. Russia's unfriendly countries list in 2023. Russian government's making a lot of enemies. The Korean War, 1950 to 1953. Yeah, I think I've seen this one before, so you can see that North Korea managed to occupy a load of South Korea, but then, wait for it, and there we go, South Korea start fighting back, and they like take over a bunch of North Korea. Oh, goodness me. But then North Korea start fighting back again, and it's just back and forth over and over again, and I think technically they are still at war to this day, but these days they just kind of look at each other angrily from each side of a fence. We have 8 billion people now, so where do they live? Well, there's 1.4 billion just in India, now officially the most populated country, second to China, 1.426. That's nearly 40% right there. Asia really dominating the global populations at nearly 60%. Then we've got 18% in Africa, which is still an absolute ton. It's interesting how South America, a pretty large continent, only contributes to 5.5% of global populations. Estimated migration of early Homo sapiens out of Africa to the rest of the world. Okay, so each number represents 1,000 years. We need an enhance. So 200,000 years, everyone kind of started in this, what is now Ethiopia. And then slowly since then, we've migrated out of Africa, which is crazy to think of, isn't it? And it makes all the horrible colonial things that happened to Africa so much worse because we started in Africa ourselves. But yeah, it took 50,000 years for Homo sapiens to make it to the bottom of Africa. And then it was 45,000 years ago that we made it to Central Europe. 65,000 years it took to get to Australia. And then, of course, obscure islands like New Zealand have only had habitation for the last 1,000 years. Which is crazy to think about those islands just sat there with no one knowing they existed for millions and millions of years. What year is it right now? Wait, hang on. Are you telling me that not every country in the world thinks it's 2023 right now? I mean, it's obvious when you think about it, but why have I only just found out that not everyone's using the same system? So in Japan, it's year 5. What? And to all of Northern Africa, it's 1444. It's 2015 in Ethiopia. What? Relief map of San Marino, one of the smallest countries in the world, but it's not actually that small, to be fair. It looks small for me, but let's compare it to London. For a long time, I thought it was dinky, but you can see San Marino covers multiple areas of London. Anyway, it is mainly a big, cool, epic castle on a hill. That is unreal. I'm excited to go to San Marino at some point. It looks like a really cool place. Today, I bring you Large Zealand, stolen from Facebook page. Tourist map of the world. Why have they made New Zealand just absolutely ginormous? I don't get it. A map of submarine cables connecting British Empire in 1902. Jeez, that must have took some doing. That is a bloody long way. What were they used for then? Just allowing submarines to follow? According to the comments, they were actual electrical cables that could send information. 1902? Who knew? The most watched movies in Zimbabwe in 2015. Okay, it was Eye in the Sky everywhere other than here, where it was Spectre. That is a really specific map. Map depicting the changes in Costa Rica's forest coverage over time. This is interesting. So in 1940, 75% of the country was forest. Absolutely incredible, amazing place. But then it did start decreasing as humans did their thing, and it got down to 31 and then 21% in 1987. But from there, Costa Rica's having a huge push to restore their forests, and by 2010, it was back to 50% of the country, which is epic to see. I made a chart showing the world's 25 most populated islands. Oh, go on then. So the most populated island is Java in Indonesia with 151 million people. Okay, then we have Honshu in Japan, 100 million. Then Great Britain's third. Jeez. 66 million. So it's based on population rather than size, remember. Okay, then Luzon, Philippines, Sumatra in Indonesia. Scrolling out, anyone else interesting? Long Island, USA makes it onto the list with 8 million people. And Ireland also makes it on the list, 7 million. That's a lot less than 66 million Great Britain. An interesting map I found of world cloud coverage. Ooh, that explains a lot. That's cool though, that's dramatic. Roman Empire's border defenses in 150 by National Geographic. Oh. Alright, all I know about is Hadrian's Wall, this tiny little bit here, because it's just quite near to where I grew up. But you can see they had so much of Europe on lockdown. I mean, they really knew what they were doing, the Romans, to be fair. Not saying they're good, but yeah, it's quite the empire. Satellite map of Chad. Why does it look so much like a person? Like, I could accept all of this, but the actual eye in the correct place, that's too much. Come on. New York versus Los Angeles size comparison. So all of New York manages to just sit comfortably right there. Oh, that's cool. Hawaii population density. So like a lot of places, basically everyone lives on the main island. That's a really nice, pretty looking little map. Country names in Finnish. Okay, let's butcher some pronunciation. Norway is Norja. Sweden is Rusi. Finland's Suomi. Wait, UK is Yetiastient Kunusgaskunta. US wildlife map, work in progress, looking for creature suggestions. Wow, that is going to look incredible when it's done. What a very talented artist. Percentage of urban tree cover in European capitals. Wow, 72% for Norway's Oslo. That is a lot of trees. Switzerland also pretty high. Nicosia, Cyprus, 4% is the lowest. But I imagine Cyprus is just not a very tree-friendly environment. But perhaps I'm wrong there. You can see for London, it's 21%. Considering these are all capital cities, they're not actually too bad. The entire coast of Bosnia, 20 kilometers. Yeah, I can't understand how this is a thing. It's absolutely mad. So this is the area that they're referring to, and if you zoom out, you can... Croatia have this whole bit here. They even have this little separate bit there. And I only just learned recently that they also have these islands. What? Do we have an explanation in the comments? Okay, here's a rough explanation if you want to pause it. There's far too many words for me to say in the video. Oh, I remade a map-based daily game. Travel. Name countries to make a path from A to B. That sounds like my kind of thing. Oh, that's a hard one today. I have to get from the Gambia to Namibia. I've got 13 guesses, and if I get there, you have to subscribe. Okay, is Guinea on there? Let's try Guinea, please. Guinea is one of the guesses, but it isn't a direct connection. So Senegal, I reckon, surrounds it, thinking about it, doesn't it? Yeah, there we go. So now we're away. From Guinea, I'm going to do, I think, hopefully Burkina Faso. Let's try that. No, maybe I'd be better starting at Namibia. I'm going to try Angola. Guess. Yeah, there we go. And then I'm going to do DRC. Guess. Yes, nice. And from DRC, can I get Cameroon, maybe? I don't know. Oh, there's a gap. Well, we'll do Republic of the Congo next. That gets us there, right? So then we'll do Nigeria, followed by Benin. Then if I can connect Burkina with Guinea, I'm there, right? Is it Liberia, maybe? Oh, no, it isn't. I'm screwing this up. Ivory Coast. We got there. Yes. I don't think it was the most efficient route, but we got there. All right. Please subscribe if you made it to this point in the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all later.